Hi everyone, if you're watching a video or recording, do fast forward just a minute here. I'm taking a little bit longer today to get started. Okay. You know, just when things are going so swimmingly, turns out they're not really. That's where we are. Hope everybody's enjoying their week. It is Wednesday. It was quite the travel day on Monday. I say that. It was a lovely travel day on Monday. So last week was Beat Fest, and actually I wonder if there's sound. Is there sound? Let's make sure there's sound. Yes. Last week was Beat Fest, and it was interesting getting back in the saddle again. It's been a while since, well, actually we did it in Las Vegas, but it's been, can you believe it? It's been 3 years since there has been a Beat Fest. And it was a lot of work in a short amount of time and a lot of people. It was a really great, successful show, so we were excited to have that. All the instructors that I talked to had a really successful event. So excited to report on that. And what else can I tell you? Lancaster was very unexpected. I liked it. I liked the town. I thought it was really a sweet place to be. And although we did not have any time to go see it, but we're looking forward to next year. So mark your calendars. First weekend of August 2023, Beat Fest is coming back to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. That said, what else is going on? Today is Keep It Simple, a series of projects that are really straightforward and should be simple and makes a punch. Anyway, so then what else? We also have Going in Circles. This is a Zoom short on Sunday. If you'd like to join us, you can still register for that. It is a free Zoom with purchase of kit. And then in 2 weeks, we will be at Bead Everything in White Plains, New York. You can go to beateverything.com and see the classes up there and register for them. There's still lots of space available. Okay. So for today's project, we are doing Teeter Totter, and you'll see why I called it Teeter Totter in just a second. What are you going to need for today? You're going to need a jeweler's saw, some cut lube, a bench pin, which is sitting right here. A pair of slide cutters would be good. Multi-looping plier would probably be helpful too. A ruler and perhaps a Sharpie would be helpful in today's project. Let's see, a metal ruler. I'm grabbing that out from underneath there. There we are, a metal ruler. And so you can use any shape that you want for this project. You can use a rectangle, I think would be really nice. I think square is a little stodgy and circle is a little stodgy, so I'm going with an oval today. Copper, brass, silver, whatever you want to do. Of course, because this is just a demo, we're going to be using copper and brass. But something funky happened, which is like really sort of weird. So I have a piece of textured copper here that I had cut into an oval. Okay, and I annealed it and I flattened it. So it's nice and flat and annealed. And then I stuck it in some pickle and then it was just sort of weird. So you're like, weird how? I don't know, it looked like it was corroding when I came back an hour later. And then we have some brass texture metal here, same thing. I had annealed it, thrown it into my pickle, and it looks like it's completely corroded for some odd reason. So I'm going to torch it again to see if I can get that to clean up all by itself instead of sitting here scrubbing, rubbing, and doing a lot of work for it. The other thing that I'm going to use, this is a big experiment. I haven't made this project before, so it may or may not work, but I suspect it will. I mean, it's, easy, straightforward theory. And of course, I'm using some scrap material, but this is 16 gauge copper. You can use silver or brass to do this also. But anyway, so this piece is really silly dirty. And so I am going to go ahead and torch it again and pickle it. That's my quick and dirty way of getting things clean. Sometimes, it just wants to be torched and get that stuff burned off. And that just helps it. I don't know why, but it does. Gets it to the point really easily. So let's see what happens here. Okay, so there we are. Yeah, so check this out on my rag. This is what came off of my metal earlier. It was just like really gross. Yes, I said gross. That's the word. All right, so it's really crazy dirty. We'll throw it in the pickle. Let's see what happens next. And so, thanks, Gail. It was a beautiful day to be driving back. I got back on Monday. Spent yesterday unpacking and reorganizing, putting everything back. In fact, it took until today to almost finish it, but we took a little time out yesterday, and Andy and I went to lunch, and I got the puppy out to the river and went and played with his new playmate. So took a little bit of time off yesterday, so which is great. You know what? I need some glue, and I forgot to grab it, so I'll be right back. Well, I took my rubber cement to the show, and it didn't come back. So I'm going to try double-sided tape and see what happens here. But in any case, so I'm going to start by putting double-sided tape onto the front of my metal. So this is the texture side. So I want both textures facing up at this point. Let me just put some tape down on there. Okay. And let's check on this piece of metal. Are you any better? I hope so. A little bit better. Yeah, I still got, see how crazy dirty that is? Yuck. We'll put a little brass brush to it so we can get that out. No. Does not want to come off. I'm still okay with that. There it is. Okay, finally clean. Again, not really clear what happened once it went into the pickle, but I had this like whole crust of pickle and corrosion stuck onto my metal. It was a little annoying. All right, let's see if this works out. Okay, and I'm totally going to help it out because I'm using double-sided. I am adhering metal to metal, which is not really a great thing to do. So I'm going to see if I can help it out a little bit by putting a mallet to it because it's not perfectly flat. But since I've been torching it, it should be really well annealed. Okay, it's not sticking. That's not good. Try another piece of tape. I've only been putting my fingers all over it, right? So when you're using tape, make sure you try not to touch the parts that you want to stick. Hi, Robert. Haven't talked to you in a while. Yes, I use my brass brush until it is really dead because, you know, hey, waste not, want not. And by the way, we're conservationists, you know, less to the environment, right? Every step of the way. It's funny what some people notice and what other people don't, I have to say. So there we are. Nice. Nice. I'm going to trim a little bit. Actually, do I want to trim this? I don't care if I trim this or not, but we'll do a little bit so it doesn't stick on everything. So this has only been sketched. I haven't tried this at all. I've only sketched it out, and I'm hoping that it works out. So we're going to take our metal ruler, and we're going to make lines in here. Again, it's all so theoretical. Like so. Let's see, go like so. So I am just randomly making lines into my metal. And then I'm going to cut these pieces out. Because in the end, the final product will be an alternating piece. I'm putting them together so that they're exact. You can take out your shears and cut this at this time, but I'm going to choose to use my saw because I don't want to warp my metal. So that's when I truly choose to use a saw. I do really like to use my shears because it makes quick work of things, but here, you know, it's not going to take much to do this. So let's switch cameras. All right. Once again, new camera setup. Still learning here, so let's see if I can move this out just a little bit. Sorry, there we are. Make sure it's nice and straight. Straight enough, right? Okay, still not out far enough. Okie dokie. So here we're just going to take some cut lube, your saw, number 2 saw blade, and we're just going to cut this out. Nice straight lines. Remember when you're sawing, put it between the V's to give it some leverage. And actually, you know what? I forgot. What do I want to do? I want to file these ends. So yeah, I'm going to need to trim that. I want to file this oval together, the 2 pieces together, to make sure that it's nice and even. And it'll be easier to file while it's still intact than to file in pieces, right? So we will trim that metal off. Pull out our metal file. Making sure that, oops, it is perfectly even and to the shape that I want, right? I cut it with a pair of shears. It's not perfect, but we're gonna make it perfect. I do have some burrs on the side that I wanted to remove, so we'll remove it now. Turn it over, do the other side too. Make sure you identify all those edges and make it nice. Done. I lost my lines, but that's okay. We'll put them back. Andy's telling me that he likes my pen so much that I should let him use it for his fantasy football draft this weekend. So you know what? I'll move to another. I'm gonna play nice since it was his birthday this week, and I'm gonna move to another pen so I can save that pen and not ruin it, so he can have it for the weekend. I know. I'm such a nice wife, right? Ha 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 ha. Look at that. Okay. Go like that. Actually, maybe a little further down. There we go. All right, let's get to sawing. Again, put the piece in between the V slot here. Okay, fight me already. Oh my goodness. There we go. Always keep your eyes in front of the blade. Because that informs you where to cut. Nice long strokes. Do not push. Don't fight it. And it should be really easy, quick work. Just like that. Oh, I knew that was going to go. All right, we'll go to the next one. Okay, really? So what you don't want to do is you don't want to fight it. And that's what I'm trying not to do here, is I'm trying not to fight it. And I'm trying not to force it, because what's going to happen if you force it is it will break your saw blade. So don't force it. Nice long strokes. Don't make little strokes like this. Make nice long strokes. Keep your eye on your work, not on the camera. Okay. Good. And then this one will go like so. Next one, and then one more. So you can cut as many slits as you want. This only gets more complicated for this project if you cut a lot of slits. For those of you who have arthritis in your hands and can't hold it the way I'm holding it, try a clamp. A little like C clamp. Try like a little 2-inch C clamp, and see if you can clamp your metal down. That should be helpful. Okay, there we are. Let me grab the other one off the floor. All right, let's see these pieces. Like so. You know what? I think I'm going to help myself and number these pieces too. Wow. That way, I don't get them mixed up. Okay, so we'll number it. 1, 2. I'm giggling because Andy's making jokes in my ear. He thinks he's being smart. So you guys ready for fall? It's coming. It's totally coming. I'm numbering the backside because remember there's 2 pieces here, right? Okay. So now I'm going to do a little bit of filing just to take off any raw edges. I'm working in a slight angle. Just to take off those sharp edges. Okay. And it doesn't take much to do this. You should really just take the time to do it because it's easy and it makes a difference. So what else is going on out there? Virtual Ever Crafting. If you haven't registered yet, classes are still open for registration. If you are in the Pennsylvania area, we do have some hybrids available. So if you don't have your own studio, and I say Pennsylvania, in the Philadelphia area, we do have some classes available for hybrid that will be taking place at Tuscarora Lapidary Society. So you can go there and use their studio instead of doing it at home if you don't have your own setup. Okay, there we are. Feels okay. Let's move it over. Get rid of this and let's move the cameras. There we are. All right. No! I'm telling you, it's a new setup. I just dropped my torch into my quench water. Okay. Maybe that's not a good place to put the torch. Okay, so here we'll take this apart and remove any of the tape. Okay, if I could see said tape would be good. I know you're in there because I used it. That's so weird. It's so weird. Is there tape there? There has to be. What the heck? Yeah, there it is. Holy cow. Holy moly. You do want to get this tape off because we're going to be soldering. And if it's dirty, it's not good. And it's plastic. So when we put a torch to this, it's going to melt. And it's not going to be a good thing. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to stack the pieces next to each other so I know what's going on. Wow. Okay, maybe this is the reason why I don't use double-sided tape, because this is just hard. You know, if it was rubber cement, it'd be done at this point, right? And what if you don't have nails? What are you going to use to get it off? I know, your nails are not tools, but apparently it is in my world. Yes, you should number the bottom pieces like I did there. Okay. All right. Taking all the tape off. So we're, you know, the thing is, numbering these pieces, I mean, if you can work without numbering anything, good for you, but I'm not that girl. Because, you know, especially since I'm doing this live, and of course in my head, I'm totally like panicking, freaking out that, you know, I'm not moving fast enough and I'll inevitably miss something. So when I'm teaching, I do have a tendency to try to do these little steps, and you should too, to keep track of what you're doing. It's a lot easier than fixing the mistakes later. So, you know, it only takes a minute to put some marking on there so you can identify it or number it. There we go. Okay. Are you starting to see it? Starting to see that teeter totter thing? Maybe? I guess I could have cut this in, let's see, 5 pieces. So I could have just cut this in 4 pieces too, but you know how we like our odd numbers. Because it's just odd when they're even. Okay. There we are. Okay, this one definitely doesn't want to come off. Okay, take all that off. And again, it's nice because the pieces are nice and not warped because I used a saw on it. All right, we're going to set this aside just a little bit. And now we're going to cut a piece of copper wire and we're going to straighten it out. It's going to be the center of this piece. Alcohol or acetone on tape. You know, I never thought about that, but I don't know. Would it be good? It would take my numbering off, that is for sure. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and trim that there. I do need to straighten this out. Okay, so let's see. Let's do it this way. By the way, if you have questions along the way with any projects that I'm working on, do give a shout out, make a comment. If it is not live, send me a message. Okay, so I'm just straightening that piece out. I'm going to put it between 2 bench blocks and roll it to see if I can get even more straight. See, nice, huh? Okay, so there we are. And because this is going to be a pendant, I will solder this jump ring onto the top. Let's close that up. Okay. And what do we want to do? I think we want to grab a magnesia block and work on that. Okay. There we go. So I want to solder, I want to solder the jump ring this direction because remember your chain needs to go through there. An easy way of doing it is to dig it into a magnesia block like so. Let's see if I can get it in here. Some are softer than others. Some blocks are softer than others. And some are just sort of challenging. So let's see if I can get this dug in here a little bit. And I can also freehand this. That works too. Or put it on a third hand. But there's a reason why I'm doing it this way. Okay, so make sure that your end is nice and flush. And give a little bit of a sanding, like so. And we're going to solder that together, okay? Little teeny bit of copper solder. If you're doing silver, use some hard solder. And of course, I like my little bit of solder paste. You can see that there. And we'll just solder that together. Quench it, pickle it, then we're going to set it up and get the other pieces soldered on. That did not happen. I can tell you that right now. Whoops. Don't know why, but that did not flow where I needed it to flow. So I'm going to do it again without pickling. You know, solder paste is really forgiving. Because I can tell that the solder did not fill in that joint. And that's problematic. Okay, why did you not go in? Oh, I'm getting a feeling it's going to be one of those days. Remember, because it's copper, it needs a minute to set. You can't just pick it up and quench it. Let's see if that worked. Ooh, nice tight joint. Throw it in the pickle. Let's get this set up while we're waiting. The reason why I'm using the side of my magnesia block is because it's nice and flat. Okay, where are my pieces? All right, so we're going to go whoa, like so. And I'm alternating. I'm going to go 1, 3, and 5. Let's see. So you can actually make 2 pendants out of this and not waste. I'm going to go something like that. Okay, there we are. Let's go check on the post. Sort of clean. Say that again. Okay, so the question is, do I really need it to do it this way, given that the wire is round? Why can't I just lay it down? So the thing is, if I lay it down like this, you'll need to add another jump ring for the for your chain. So unless you're willing to do it that way, which is an easier way of doing it, let's be honest, right? It's definitely easier just to solder it straight like this instead of having churned it like I did. But I'm choosing to do it the hard way and not add the extra jump ring. It's also an aesthetic thing. Okay, so these are just choices that we make along the way. Okay, this goes like so. Now, this is not in deep enough. I can tell you that there's a gap in between here. So I'm going to go ahead and dig this out a little bit more so I can place this just a little bit more deep. What was I using earlier? I was using this. Put that down. There we go. Wow. Oh, it doesn't. Sorry. For the first step. I don't understand. Oh, okay. Gail. Oh my God, you're right. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, you're right. Given the wire's round, I should have soldered it flat and turned it instead of doing it the hard way. Oh, this is what happens when I do it live. And my head is spinning and going 10 million different directions. But you're right. You could have soldered it flat on the first round instead of soldering it this way, the hard way, and then turned it over. Smart. Okay, obviously I'm not so smart. But again, when you're working all by yourself and you're under time crunch to get things done because you're doing this live and have not done it before, This is what happens. Okay, so now I'm going to put solder down on where it's meeting the metal, right? Meeting the oval. And I sort of don't care where the solder goes. I'm not going to be particularly neat about it. I just know that I need some to make contact on the bottom and on the top, because I'm going to place a little bit of, I'm going to place the other pieces. Am I placing the other pieces on top? What am I thinking? What am I thinking? What the heck? Okay, sorry, we're just processing through this. Like so. I have to think about this for half a second here. What was I thinking? It was every other. I need a... This one is going to be 2. We'll go 1, 2. Okay. If I can only read my own writing at this point, that would be helpful. There we go. I will, just a second here. I have to think this one out. This is where we're headed, that's for sure. Okay, so I've lost track of my pieces here. This is where we're headed. But why is this not what I'm thinking? Yeah, I'm like, yeah. Okay. Right. Why not put the others on at the same time so you only see the wire on one side? That's what I'm trying to process through my brain right now, because for some reason my brain's not working right. Okay. You're right. It should go. Should it go like this? Is this what I was thinking? I don't even know what I was thinking. What was I thinking? Work with me here. Should go like so, right? I don't know. Actually, I'm going to go with, okay, I figured it out. We're going to continue with this, and you'll see here in a second. Once again, tweezers have become my friend. Okay. It's all in the design. Hold on. Let's place the solder first, and then we go from there. Okay? So we're going to go like that. This is 4. And this should go. Is that right? Like so. And then the other ones will go on top. That's how this is going to go. Okay, so that's done. Because I don't want to see the wire at all. So we're just going to put very sloppily solder up and down this wire, because we're not going to see it. It'll be underneath and in between. So we're just going to go ahead and put solder there at every junction, like so. You know, these things, they work in a certain way in my little brain. And then when I sit down and do it, it's like, oh, did I really think that one through? Not completely sure, not all the time, but a lot of times it works. So much for a simple, right? Oops. I know. Like so. Move this guy up. This is 2. Is that correct? Ah, there it is. That goes like that. Yeah. Okay. And then, where is it? There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. We're getting there. So we're going to solder all this in place. I'm going to try to get it nice and even to maintain my shape. I don't want it overlapping like I have there. So I'm just going to move this down a little bit. Well, it was a simple design. Not so simple to make, huh? Needed to think it out. Okay. It's leaning over a little too much. So we want it to teeter totter 2 different directions, like so. Okay, don't breathe. Let's hope that this works. I'm hoping that when I turn on the torch that it doesn't collapse. So you can see it's going back and forth, right? This one's down and we're doing it in opposite directions because we want it to make it look sort of like it has movement. So we'll start here. Not straight, but I'm going with it. Remember, it's a demo. Okay, maybe I'll fix it. Okay, maybe I won't fix it. Doesn't want to move, but we're just going to go with it. And you know, the other thing too, this sort of looks like a fish. I've always wanted to make a fish pendant. I haven't done one yet, but you know, I see these little fish pendants out there. I think they're so cute. Oops, I lost one. Along the way. All right, so we're going to throw this in pickle, and then we're going to do the top part and that one that sort of didn't happen. It's in the pickle somewhere. Okay, let's see if I can, or it's not in the pickle, it's in my quench water here. I got really, really muddy because of all the crud that happened earlier. All right, we'll throw that in the pickle too. So the question is, why not use a honeycomb board with pins to hold it perpendicular? Because I needed that that jump ring to go below the surface so that the other pieces could lie flat to it. So a way I guess you could have done that was I could have hung the jump ring off of the board. You know, let's try that. We'll give that a shot and see what happens here. Okay. So let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3. Okay, I don't think that's right. Go that way. 3, 4, we are. We have our sequins for when we're ready to pull this out of the pickle. Okay, putting a few things away. Always continually clearing out my workspace. I like working in a clean environment. It just makes it a little bit easier. Maybe a little less stressful too, but that's a big maybe, right? Okay, we're almost done pickling. Give it another minute here. I'm gonna take at least the one piece out and clean that. So how are we feeling about the lighting here? The new setup? I feel like I'm getting a clearer picture. I could be wrong. Ooh. See, the metal is so annealed that it just bent with drying it. So, oops. Let's see what we're looking like. This is number 3, so it needs to go that direction. Okay. I'm hoping that my changes here made for a clearer view. Okay, that should be clean enough for what I'm doing. Like so. So you see, if I had it just on here, this would not, oops, this would not lay straight, right? It would not lay flush because of the jump ring. But I'm gonna hang it off. Wait, oh, there it is. I'm gonna hang it off the edge and see if that's helpful. It should allow everything to be nice and flat. Tweezers. There we are. Okay, pin it in place. The other thing too is I always fear that when I heat this up, because this is such a small little joint, regardless of what kind of solder I use, whether I start it with hard or whatever, I always, and I'm stepping it down, I always feel like I need something to brace it just in case the solder joint decides to open up. So it's sort of a guarantee by doing it in the magnesia instead of doing it like this. Okie dokie. A little bit of solder there on the bottom piece. Again, being a little bit sloppy about it. And then I need to have some solder over the top. We'll put solder on the top pieces here also. Hello, solder. Can we stick, please? Okay, there it is. And then we're going to grab our other pieces. So this time we're not going to use all the pieces. We're just going to use the alternating. But if you don't mind the, wait a second, I can't think. If you don't mind the seeing the wire, then you could be done. And this piece is a big voila, right? So this goes this direction, like so. And then I did something wrong. What did I do wrong? Why did that not work? Okay, so I did that incorrectly, right? So this should have been down also, so that this one could be up. Ha, 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 ha. So, So here's the thing. I miscalculated this, right? I want them to be back and forth, but because I went every other, now every other is a mess. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to reverse solder this and push this piece down here so that it can go down and this middle piece can go up. Okay, so that's the scoop. Let's fix it so you get to see how I fix this. We're going to do a little reverse soldering. And besides, this piece down here did not get soldered, so this is its opportunity to get soldered in place. So we'll go ahead and solder that top one. We're going to solder this one, and look at that. And I got that one done, and that one. Whew. Phew. Oops. Oh. Still wrong. Just change that and move it back the other way. We're going to heat in here. Did I do that wrong? Yes. So can you just turn the top of the wire into an eye pin instead of doing a jump ring? Sure, of course you can. Okay, so I still obviously can't think about this properly. This has to go down like this. This needs to go down. Yeah, okay. I did it wrong again. Let's do it one more time. There we go. Wow. Give it a second. There we go. Stop. Okay. Because it's brass and copper, we're giving it a minute to set, and hopefully, oh, it's on. It's on. It's on. Yay. Okay, it's on. Many ways you can approach this, of course. Whatever's easiest for you. But remember, everything lends itself to design aesthetic, right? It always boils down to design aesthetic. If making a bend or even a looped, wired loop, that works too. Or a wrapped loop, I'm sorry. So we're going to pickle that. And then we're going to add the last piece on. Because it's copper and brass. It's really dirty. I pickle more doing copper and brass than I do anything else. Okay, there we are. Still not particularly clean, but that's okay. I don't need anything else to be clean except where I am soldering. So here, because I wasn't particularly careful about where I was going, how I have these pieces scrunched up, I think I'm going to have to trim this one to get it in here. I am. Does it go this way? It goes this way. Yeah, it goes this way. So we're going to trim this a little bit. Here I'll pull out the my bezel shears and see if I can get that cut down just a little bit to fit into place, and hopefully I won't warp this too much. Yay me! Okay, let's see if it fits. Still a little too big to go in there because I want it to teeter down like this, right? Because I want every other one to be up and down. If I did not want to take this step of trimming because I want it to be perfect, I would unsolder the whole thing. Yes, that whole reverse soldering thing. There we go. So something like that. Make sure there's contact in there, and it does not. So again, a little tiny bit more trimming. Okay, there it is. A little bit of solder. Okay, a lot of solder. We're going to be coming from the top, which is good because I need it to go. Okay, so it's not teetering the way I want it to. I'm going to hang this off. I'm going to pin it in place, and then I'm going to use my my solder pick to push it into place when I torch. Let's see if I can. So I want to sort of do a practice run and make sure that's correct. Okay. So, well, since this one unsoldered, I'm just going to move it down a little bit. You see how I'm not panicking? This is what I tell people all the time. Just keep the heat constant. Don't panic. It'll happen. See, I'm not panicking to turn off my torch either. I'm just pointing it away from my work so it's not melting as I'm fiddling around with it. I'm giving it a minute to set. Okay, so this one isn't set yet, or it did not take. So I am actually just going to put a little bit of solder in there and torch it again. Yeah, a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I thought, wham, bam, done, but no. No. Okay. Try not to touch anything. Just put some solder right down there. Let's see if I can get that to work. I'm going to heat it again. Wish me luck. Again, I'm taking my time, letting it set. Pray to the solder gods. Please don't let this be the quilted one. Yes, and it is the quilted one. Okay, so we'll flip it over like so. Maybe? No. I'm going to pickle it and do it again. So just one more piece, clean it up, and then we'll be done. Yeah, I know. Famous last words, right? Famous last words. This is how it goes. All right, we'll move. I'm moving the pins to the side here. Totally fell off. Back to the question: how's everyone else doing today? Actually, I'm having a pretty good day. Productive days are always a good thing, and there's a lot of production happening today, which makes me happy. And it's nothing like finishing things and putting things away and getting everything back in order. I love that. So, and then finding out that maybe some tools are missing from the show, and I now need to run to the hardware store and get some more C-clamps because apparently I left some behind and I need it for the studio. I know. So we'll have to get some extras today. All right, pulling it out of the pickle. Let's clean that up. So the solder is still there. It did not, it didn't flow like this one. And there was too much heat earlier, so that reverse solder, that's why it released. So I'm going to leave that solder there. I don't think I'm going to add any more on. Just because it didn't solder doesn't mean that you need more solder. Maybe you just need a little bit of flux. So we'll just put a little bit of flux on there. Just like so. And like so. Are you all seeing where this is going? Okay, so for sure it doesn't want to stay in place, and I'm going to need to help it because I already know that as soon as I turn on the torch, this is going to teeter right back to the other side. So get your picking in hand and help it. And notice I'm just focused right on that piece. And I'm soldering blind. And this is from muscle memory. This is where experience comes in. Right? That, you know, you would have heated it enough for the solder to flow without overheating anything. I think it did it. Let's see. I'm glad you like the design idea. Thank you. Okay, so it didn't happen. Ugh. Whoa. Challenges. I know, we're going to go over an hour today. So flame patina was a suggestion on this, and I think that's where we're going to go with it. I think it'll be really cool if it all works out. Let's get this thing soldered first, right? Okay, I'm going to run a risk here, total risk. I'm going to torch from the back side and hope that it doesn't all undo. But I feel like it needs a little bit more heat, and I'm going to do this really concentrated and being careful. Are we sure it's not Monday? Ha. Oh yeah, it's Monday. At least it feels like a Monday. And that piece did not stay on again. Okie dokie. You know what? Flux it. Oh. Oh. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this piece up, get the solder flowing, and then put this down and hope that it takes. I don't know, not completely confident with this. This is where I should be pulling out my Gentech. Just saying. Nope, didn't do it. Gonna have to pickle it. All right, so what have we learned? Get it really clean before you try to pickle it again. Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's think. How about we table this? You guys got a good start if you want to do it, and we reapproach it next week and finish it. Because next week, I think what I'll do is I'll turn on the Gentech and get that to be more more direct on there instead of this big bushy flame, and it should happen a lot easier. All right, and I might just make a second one and see if I can get it even better. All right, we're past an hour, so I'm gonna call it quits for today. You learned a little something something. I don't think I posted the schedule yet for next week, so this is a push, so we'll push for next week. Let's see, probably on Wednesday. I don't know what, and I think Monday we're going to try Storm again. She did another recording of her studio, and I'll post that because hopefully the sound is better and you can hear her better and that you don't sound like she's in a tin can. So thanks for all the advice, thanks for all the suggestions, and thanks for hanging out. Do give us a like, and send any questions and get me ready for next week if you have any. All right, until then, I'll see all of those who signed up for Sunday's class on Sunday. If not, I'll see you all on Wednesday. Thank you. Have a good one.